For more on this, let's bring in former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, says he doesn't need any help, doesn't need federal troops to come in and quell some of the problems there. What would you say to the governor?
He's doing everything he can to foment hostility towards these ICE agents, to undermine federal law enforcement, to undermine federal law. If he really didn't want the National Guard to come in, he should support the law enforcement agents of ICE, protect his citizens, but instead he's putting politics first because he knows he wants to be the nominee for the Democratic Party in 2028. So he knows he has to oppose Trump, oppose ICE, and be all for open borders. It's really stunning how bad things have gotten, particularly with the shooting 2 weeks ago. You'd think people would calm down the rhetoric. And J.D. Pritzker has such an opportunity here to be an adult, to tell people to stop this nonsense, to stop attacking ICE agents, but he won't do it because he's putting politics first, and it's truly shameful.
Yeah, he says it would be outrageous for the president to send in National Guard troops, but given the violence that's taking place in his own state, does he not watch TV? Does he not see what's going on?
Exactly. After what happened today, this is really a great reason to bring in the National Guard, because these ICE agents are being impeded from doing their job, which is enforcing immigration law, and it's a perfectly reasonable reason to bring in the National Guard. And if J.D. Pritzker, again, doesn't want them there, he should support them and get these rioters under control. But of course, he doesn't want that. He just wants to complain about it. But President Trump and ICE are not only doing what they campaigned on doing, but what he's required to do under the Constitution, which is enforce the law. And J.D. Pritzker, as a governor, should know better and should support that, or at least not stand in the way of that.
Meantime, Apple and the Google Store, the Google Play Store, have decided to remove this ICE Block app, the app that people were able to use to figure out where ICE agents are. The shooter in the Dallas ICE facility consulted that app. The guy who wrote the app is not happy about this. Listen to this guy, Joshua Aaron.
I don't need an app to tell me a police officer is going to be at a police station, just like I don't need an app to tell me an ICE agent is going to be at a well-marked ICE detention center. They've been talking about me since the app came out, and they've been looking for any excuse they can to get it taken down and put pressure on Apple to do so, because they want their paramilitary force, ICE, to be able to act with impunity.
What would you say to that guy, Jonathan?
Well, Apple has restrictions on their apps. You can't use them things that incite violence or are a violation of the law. And his app is doing both, because the whole purpose of the app is to shield people illegally here from immigration authorities, which is called alien harboring. It's also called obstruction. And also, we know it puts agents in danger. And listen to that rhetoric. This sounds like somebody that wants these agents to be in danger. But Apple did the right thing, unfortunately, a little late, and so did Google, because we did have a shooting, a couple weeks ago that may have at least been somewhat responsible for it. But yeah, that's absolutely appropriate to shut this down. The sole purpose, again, is illegal activity and putting law enforcement in danger. So absolutely the right call to do it. He has no grounds to stand on. There's nothing virtuous about putting federal agents in danger.
Yeah, the DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin, says ICE agents are seeing a 1,000% increase in assaults and other dangerous behavior just because they're wearing the uniform. It's a strange time in America where law enforcement is taking all of this criticism and even violence as they're trying to do their jobs. Final word, Jonathan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There used to be a time in America where both parties supported law enforcement. That was sort of one thing that everyone could agree on. And it's so shameful because you hear this rhetoric, the Nazi rhetoric, Gestapo rhetoric, all of these things about the men and women of ICE that are already putting their lives on the line in a very dangerous situation, and they make it more dangerous for them. Is truly shameful. It really needs to stop and let them do their job.
Just so viewers know, these are live pictures we're looking at from Illinois right now. The turmoil is continuing on. It doesn't look to be all of that violent yet, but we'll keep an eye on it and let you know what happens today. Jonathan Fahey, the former acting director of ICE. Jonathan, Thanks for your time today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.